Our next question, Jim, was sent in on Twitter using the hashtag CornyDriveThru from Rob Stovall. Dusty Rhodes gave number one Paul Jones a great deal of latitude with his promo time. Was Paul Jones the most unhinged promo amongst the Jim Crockett Promotion stable of managers? And why such leniency from Dusty?
Well, Paul Jones was a big star as a wrestler in a lot of places, in Florida, in Georgia, and in the Carolinas. He had been figured in heavily for a long time. He was close with George Scott, which is why I think he probably ended up settling in the Carolinas. But he was a big deal as a wrestler, whether as a babyface or a heel. And as a babyface, he was kind of a bland promo. And as a heel, when he was a wrestler, he was kind of a cocky, number one, Paul, I'm number one. He was still not a fireball fucking promo, but he knew how to get some heat in the ring, and the standards were a little lower in those days. But then over the period of time, he had to transition to a manager because he had back issues, and he was getting to that time period. And he was one of those guys that for his service and what he meant to the company, whether it was the George Harrises or the Klondike Bills or the whatever, Paul Jones is a guy that you just kind of was always going to be figured in with the Crockett's because he stayed through multiple bookers, right? So that's when he's figured in with the promotion. And the problem was Paul was not a real exciting fucking manager on his promos. And then, especially while I was there, I kind of saw him try to step up because he saw all these guys, whether it be me or it be JJ or the Horsemen or whatever, all these guys are doing these fucking promos now. It became promo central in the country, Crockett's office on Wednesdays. And the more he tried to be fired up, the more he came across kind of like he was losing his shit. And I think he went with it because he was not really crazy, but that's, he was trying to put oomph in the promos, and that's what came out. But basically when TBS bought the company, he was still there. Of course, he was one of the managers that, we had like 8 or 9 of us there at the time. And then George Scott came into book and made him an agent. And as soon as George Scott was fired, Paul disappeared and was never seen with WCW again.
Can I ask you a question? And I don't want to put you on the spot here, but I've heard this from 2 other people who were in that locker room. Was Paul Jones considered by some to be potentially a stooge for the Crockett office?
That evaluation had been made on a number of occasions, but here's the thing.
I try to say it delicately.
Well, yes, I can't verify that. I have no knowledge either way. However, everybody is going to think when a guy has worked in the same territory for the previous, going on 15 years and has been there, without 10 years without leaving, and then multiple times there before that, the previous 10 years, through multiple bookers, they're going to think this guy's in with the office, and yes, he's going to be thought of as a stooge. And there's a real good reason in most cases why people that have been in that situation are thought of that way. So is it the chicken or the egg? We don't know.